What would an extra $1,000 every single month change for your life? You see, a lot of people think that they need to get a second job, they need to work overtime, but I actually think in the opposite way. You see, the fastest way for you to be able to get from where you are right now to where you want to be and improve your financial situation isn't by working harder, because the hard work can only get you so far. It's by working smarter and having more leverage. And oftentimes, and especially in 2025, that's gonna come from starting an online business. So you need to understand that you have to have something running for you while you're still working your day-to-day job so you can have more leverage. And in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how you can be able to get to that point and how you can possibly make at least an extra $1,000 a month with something like an Amazon business and how that can potentially improve your life. So let's get into it. And just to preface, every single little thing I talk to you about in this video is based on my own personal experience as being a coach who's worked with over 600 regular day people who work their day-to-day jobs, who are husbands, who are wives, who are parents, who are currently unemployed, who are entrepreneurs. I work with a wide variety of different types of individuals, and everything I'm explaining to you is just based on what I've been able to see over the last 4.5 years of being in this space and helping regular everyday people make money online with an Amazon business. So to backtrack a little bit, when I started my Amazon business 4.5 years ago, it was all during the pandemic, and I was living a regular life. You know, I was going to school, I was studying in university, doing everything by the book, I guess you could say. But what ended up happening is when the pandemic hit, I started to lose faith in a lot of the traditional ways to make it in life, and I started looking in other avenues. And especially during the pandemic, one of the most important things was for me to realize the whole world stopped, but the one thing that didn't stop was Amazon. So I knew I could be able to, make my way into the Amazon realm and potentially try to figure stuff out. And starting an Amazon business as a university student who doesn't have any income, who just got let go of his valet job, it was scary to say the least. There was a lot of unknown factors that were going into it. But once I first started to realize I was making money, my first month I did $10,000 in sales. By 3 months I did $50,000 in sales. By month 7 I did over $100,000 in sales. So once I started making money with my Amazon business, I stopped worrying about the small little $8 coffees that I was gonna go buy. I stopped worrying about things that were beyond my control because I recognized I had a lot more leverage, because I used to have such a bad relationship when expenses would come up, when I wanted to spend money. I thought, okay, now I have to work an extra 3 hours, right? Or I gotta pick up an extra shift here, I gotta pick up an extra shift there. And that's such a bad way to live a life, because what ends up happening is you're trying to figure out that, okay, my money, or the money that I earn on an hourly basis or on a monthly basis, is worth this. Right? And you're putting yourself at a glass ceiling, so to speak. And a little bit of backstory as well, I started this while I was in my room in my parents' house. My bedroom was also my office, was also the place that I would do all my calls. Everything was taking place all at once, and I never even told my parents about it. I remember I always told my parents I'm working on a school project, and that's why I was working so hard, staying up so much late at night. And eventually I ended up getting to the point where I did tell them, and they were very, very proud of me throughout that process. But I knew that in order for me to get what I wanted to get, I could not let anybody else get in the way, or the opinions of other people get in the way of what I thought would be the best route for myself. Because at the end of the day, the biggest way to kill a big dream is to tell a small-minded person. So once I started making a lot of money, I decided, I'm actually gonna drop out of school and pursue this thing full time. And as I did that, I decided, I'm gonna pack my stuff up, because Canada wasn't the place to live during the pandemic. And I decided to move for 8 months down to Tulum, Mexico, and live the digital nomad lifestyle, right? Which was pretty sweet. Every single day I was by the beach, I was relaxing, doing my work there. And it gave me a little bit of taste in regards to what that freedom really felt like when you are earning money online. You have a lot more flexibility. You call your own shots. You are your own boss. And while I was living in Mexico, lo and behold, my expenses increased, but what was also important to note is that my income increased as well at the same time. And so many people often try to stay away from the realm of spending more money, right? But what I urge everyone to think, and the most important shift that I had in my head as I started my Amazon business, was not that I couldn't afford something. It was, how could I afford something? How can I afford that nice watch? How can I afford an all-inclusive vacation? And I started thinking, instead of hours of work, I started thinking about how many products I could be able to sell to get to this point. And guess what? There's 300 million customers shopping on Amazon every single month. So it gave me a lot of confidence in knowing that I would be able to reach those goals, and I ended up actually being able to do it. Now, this might not be your goal, right? This might not be your goal to move to Tulum, Mexico, or go to Bali and live the digital nomad lifestyle, but what does an extra $1,000 a month or an extra $12,000 a year actually do for you and your life? Well, firstly, speaking amongst the majority of people that I've worked with, it all goes towards their mortgage. So if you earn an extra $1,000 a month and you put that extra $1,000 towards your mortgage principal, and if you do that every single month, that's gonna cut 8 to 10 years off your mortgage loan. So that's quite literally $80,000 to $120,000 in interest payments that you're actually ended up saving for yourself. So instead of retiring at the age of 67 years old and still making your mortgage payments at that point, you can now possibly get to the point where you're retiring at 57, you own your home, and you're no longer making any payments. Or let's just say you have kids. What does $1,000 per month do for your children and how you can be able to provide for them? Well, a lot of people in today's day and age, right, they want their kids to be well educated. So if you decide to put $1,000 every single month into a college fund for the next 10 years, that then becomes $140,000 with compound interest. So there's no more saying, right, if your kid wants to go to college or if your kid is very top of performing of their class, maybe if they want to go to Harvard or if they want to go to an Ivy League school, it's not we'll see. It's yeah, no problem. Or maybe even your kids want to get involved in sports. Maybe they want to go play basketball. Maybe they want to play soccer. Maybe they want to go get involved in, I don't know, golf, let's say, for example, which is a pretty expensive sport. It's not about you can't afford it at that point. It's about I have the means necessary for me to be able to make up that amount of money outside of my regular day job that can help me cover it. And you can give your child, you can give your future children the ability for you to be able to be well prepared and give them the life that they truly deserve. Or maybe even you're tired of just 2-week vacations per year. Maybe you want to take more vacations. Maybe you want to be able to actually live life how it's supposed to be lived. And maybe you want to take your family on a Disney cruise, let's say, for example. These things can become yearly traditions instead of just once in a lifetime dreams that you can only be able to achieve then and there. Or even to that point, maybe it's just for your own peace of mind, earning an extra $1,000 a month. Majority of Americans cannot handle a $400 emergency bill without going into debt. So by you earning an extra $1,000 a month, you can actually build a really well-structured emergency fund within the next 6 months. Because look, let's all face it, right? Life happens and it's okay for life to happen, but doesn't mean that you need to be punished for it financially if you are well prepared with the right means. So if your car breaks down, no problem. If you unfortunately end up having need to go to the hospital, God forbid, you can be able to cover that. Or maybe your job suddenly decided to start making layoffs. No problem. You've got a runway to cover yourself until you figure stuff out. For me, for example, right, like I'm currently living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo with my fiance. All of a sudden, my condo association decided that there was this new rule for people who owned 2 cars, that they can no longer park in the public parking space of the condo building. Doesn't make sense to me, but within 1 hour, I was able to communicate with someone, pay them an extra $200 a month to rent out their parking space. That's it. These are the types of decisions that you get to make when you actually are never afraid of how you can be able to earn money. So it's never as though you can't be able to afford it. It's always understanding how can you be able to get to the point where you're affording it. And for a lot of individuals, what ends up happening is they try so hard to continue doing what they're doing or put more hours in what they're doing right now. And there's a really good saying that goes, and I want to be able to relay this to you all. What you are not changing, you're choosing. So what that basically means is if you are deciding not to change the work that you do, if you are deciding to keep working that job that you continuously work, you are choosing to live the life that you live and live the life that you always had lived based on your actions that you've always taken. Your life at this moment is a culmination of all the decisions you've ever taken. So why would you ever expect things to be different if you don't do things differently? And Albert Einstein even defines the definition of insanity. I'm going to read it here. It says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So why would you try to continue working more hours at your job? Why would you try to continue slaving yourself at overtime? Why would you want to continue to being overworked and undervalued when you can simply just need more leverage at the end of the day? A lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder, I'm gonna get more promotions and get more pay and get more bonuses and have better benefits. Well, I mean, you're competing with 50 other people that are trying to do that same exact thing. And even if you do get that promotion, the pay raise is minimal in consideration to how intense inflation has been and how much the US dollar has lost its purchasing power every single year in the last 5 years. And you might be even thinking, well, why don't I just go do DoorDash, or maybe I'll do Uber on the side, and all those fun little things. That's still active income. What active income is you're basically working 1 hour for 20 bucks. You're basically working 2 hours for 45 bucks, let's say, for example. You're trading your time for money. And that's not how you get to the point of having financial freedom. So even with things like DoorDash, even with things like Uber, even with things that require you to be present at a certain place and time in order for you to make money, the moment that you stop working, the moment that you decide to take a flight, the moment you decide to just be at home and relax and be in the comfort of your own home, your income stops. And you need to be figuring out how to have your money work harder rather than how you can simply work harder. So what exactly allows regular day people to be able to simply earn money online without sacrificing more time from their family or without sacrificing more hours at their job? And that, over my last 4.5 years of experience of working with over 600 individuals, is selling on Amazon. So just to put this in perspective, I have a single mother of 3 little children, and in her first 30 days of working with us, she's been able to do a little bit over $22,000 in total sales with her Amazon business. Now, yeah, you're right. That's just sales. The profit margins of an Amazon business are going to be anywhere between 18% to 25%. So you're still talking about a single mother of 3 little children making a little bit over $4,000 in 30 days with a brand new online business. Or you even take someone like Rick, let's say, for example, who's a real estate agent. In his first full month, $16,000 in total sales with his Amazon business. Again, margins 18% to 25%. Why did Rick come into this in the beginning? Simply because as a real estate agent, your income does fluctuate based on what the market does. Are the rates good? Are the rates not good? And there's so many moving pieces when you are a real estate agent in order to be able to make your commissions. So he was tired of simply waiting for long commissions to clear, and he was tired of doing open houses on Sundays, taking time away from his family. And now he has an online business that's producing money for him without him having to work more. Or even someone like Nadine, who previously bought an Amazon program, unfortunately wasted a lot of money on that Amazon program, but she decided to come to me because we do work together on a one-on-one mentorship level. And I was able to hold her hand every single step of the way, just like I do with every single one of my students. And she's now been working with us for a little bit over 6 months now. In the last 16 days, she's been able to cross over $124,000 in total sales with her Amazon business as a mom of 2 little kids. Think about the impact that that has in one's life simply because they decided to take action, simply because they decided to not let their fear get the best of them, and they started thinking about how can I work smarter and not necessarily work so much harder. Sure, she could have very easily picked up more hours. She could have easily gotten a restaurant job, or she could have easily gotten to go do Uber or DoorDash, but she knew better than that. She knew that there was more. And the biggest reason why she came into this was to spend more time with her children, which in turn at this point, she has a full-fledged business that's producing insane income for her, and she's being able to do exactly just what she wants to do. Or take someone like Christian Van Ham, where in his first 10 months, he was able to get to $1 million in sales. And in 30 days in the month of May, he was able to cross over $2 million in sales, with the last 12 months being a little bit over $8 million in total sales with an Amazon business as a dad of 4 kids. But let me explain this to you. Christian had no experience coming into this. Okay, he had no idea what selling on Amazon was. We scaled him from ground zero to where he's at right now. But the only reason why he got to where he is because of the amount of work and amount of implementation he simply took on the blueprint that I provided for him. So he put in times for his Amazon business outside of when he was working as a landscaper for a landscaping company. He put in time to work on his Amazon business after the kids went to bed, in between nap times, before the kids even woke up. He made the time because he prioritized what was truly important to him at the end of the day. And he knew working more hours was not the answer. Now look, you don't need to do $2 million in sales in 30 days like Christian did, right? In fact, quite literally, the Bureau of Labor Statistics outlines that less than 1% of businesses reach over $1 million in sales per month. But what if this was just an extra $1,000, $2,000, or even $5,000 a month? Then what could potentially change for not only yourself, but also your family? Think about how your day-to-days would be. Think about how much happier and how much less mentally stressed you'd be about, oh, I have to pay this bill and then I have to pay that bill. You stop worrying about living paycheck to paycheck and you start focusing on building real investment portfolios that can provide not only for yourself, but for generational wealth as well. You stop focusing on one income source and you now be able to have more flexibility. You can then go part-time in the regular job that you have. You can then spend more time with your kids, be at the soccer practice, attend more recitals if you want to. You can actually live life how it's supposed to, because at the end of the day, look, money comes and goes, but the one thing that will never ever come back is quite literally time. And this is just a small little examples in regards to what an extra $1,000 every single month can do for your life. But there's so many different ways that you can be able to allocate that $1,000 to better your life or your family's life or the lives of the people that matter most to you. But all you need is you need to follow a proven system that can get you from where you are right now to where you want to be. And I'm not saying you're gonna work 8 hours a day. I'm saying when you have the right information, you don't need a lot of time. And that's why over the last 4.5 years with working with over 600 people that are busy individuals, people that work 12, 15-hour days, nurses, entrepreneurs, moms, dads, people that quite literally can say that they don't have the time, but find the time, because it's what matters most to them, is being able to buy back more of their time by having more leverage. Now, if you want the ability to speak to me one-on-one and you want the ability to actually let me explain to you how this whole entire mentorship program works and how you can potentially get to the point of you earning an extra $1,000 a month, go ahead, click the link in the description down below, and you'll be able to book in a call with me directly or with my team, and we can give you an exact blueprint and map out what you have to do to get you to where you want to be. And this is the exact system that we will explain to you that's helped over 600 people at this point right now. And remember, what you are not changing, you are choosing. So by taking this action today, your future self will end up thanking you. Your kids will end up thanking you because you can spend more time with them. Because you took action to be able to book in a call with me and learn more about this whole entire process rather than just watching another video and doing nothing with it.